समस्त कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। ISKCON BBT संस्थापकाचार्य श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। नामाचार्य श्रील हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंद राधा कुंद गिरि गोवर्धन की जय। श्री वृंदावन धाम की जय। श्री मायापुर नवदीप धाम की जय। गंगा माया जमुना माया की जय। श्रीमती तुलसी देवी की जय। श्रीमती भक्ति देवी की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। Samveda Bhaktivinda ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. So a reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 9, Chapter 10, entitled The Pastimes of Lord Ramchandra, text number 50. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Agrahid asanambratra. Agrahid asanambratra. Pranipatya prasaditaha. Pranipatya prasaditaha. Prajaswadharma nirata. Prajaswadharma nirata. Varnashrama gunanvitaha. Varnashrama gunanvitaha. Jugopa pitrivadramo. Jugopa Pritivadramo Menire Pitaram Chatam Menire Pitaram Chatam Agrahidasanambratra Pranipatya Prasaditaha Prajaswadharmam nirata. Varnashrama gunanvitaha. Jugopa pitrivadramo. Menire pitarang chatam. Agrahidasanambratra. Pranipatya prasaditaha. Prajaswadharma nirata. Varnashrama gunanvitaha. Jugopa pitrivadramo. Menire pitarang chatam. Agrihidasanambratra. Pranipatya prasaditaha. Prajaswadharma nirata. Varnashrama gunanvitaha. Jugopa Pritivadramo Minire Pitarang Chatam Agrahirasinam Bratra Pranipatya Prasaditaha Prajaswadharma Nirata Varnashrama Gunanvitaha Jagopa Pritivadramo Menire Pitarang Chatam Agrahirasanam Bratra Pranipatya Prasaditaha Menere Pitaram Chatam Agrahirasanam Bratra Pranipatya Prasaditaha Prajasatharma Nirata Anashrama Gunanvitaha Ladies, Agrahit, accepted. Asanam, the throne of the state. Bharatra, by his brother. Bharat. Pranipatya, after fully surrendering unto him. Prasaditaha, having been pleased. Prajaha, and the citizens. Swadharma Nirata, fully engaged in their respective occupational duties. Varnashrama, according to the system of Varna and Ashram. Guna Anvitaha, all of them being qualified in that process. Jugopa, the Lord protected them. Pitrivat, exactly like a father. Ramaha, Lord Ramchandra. Menire, they considered. Pitaram, exactly like a father. Cha, also. Tam, him, Lord Ramchandra. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. Being pleased by the full surrender and submission of Lord Bharat. Lord Ramchandra then accepted the throne of the state. He cared for the citizens exactly like a father, and the citizens, being fully engaged in their occupational duties, Varna and Ashram, accepted him as their father. People are very fond of the pattern of Ram Raja, and even today, politicians sometimes form a party called Ram Raja. But unfortunately, they have no obedience to Lord Ram. It is sometimes said that people want the kingdom of God without God. Such an aspiration, however, is never to be fulfilled. Good government can exist when the relationship between the citizens and the government is like that exemplified by Lord Ramchandra and his citizens. Lord Ramchandra ruled his kingdom exactly as a father takes care of his children, and the citizens, being obliged to the good government of Lord Ramchandra, accepted the Lord as their father. Thus, the relationship between the citizens and the government should be exactly like that between father and son. When the sons in a family are well trained, they are obedient to the father and mother. And when the father is well qualified, he takes good care of the children. As indicated here by the words, Swadharma nirata, varnashrama gunanvitaha. The people were good citizens because they accepted the institution of Varna and Ashram, which arranges society in the Varna divisions of Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra, and the Ashram divisions of Brahmacharya, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyas. This is actual human civilization. People must be trained according to the different Varnashram occupational duties, as confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, text 13. Chatur varnya maya shishtam guna karma vibhagashaha. The four varnas must be established according to varying qualities and work. The first principle for good government is that it must institute this varnashram system. The purpose of varnashram is to enable people to become God-conscious. Varnashrama acharya vata purushena para pumang vishnur aradyate. The entire varnashram scheme is intended to enable people to become Vaishnavas. Vishnur asya devataha. When people worship Lord Vishnu as the Supreme Lord, they become Vaishnavas. Thus, people should be trained to become Vaishnavas through the system of Varna and Ashram, as they were during the reign of Lord Ramchandra, when everyone was fully trained to follow the Varnashram principles. Simply enforcing laws and ordinances cannot make the citizens obedient and lawful. That is impossible. Throughout the entire world, there are so many states, legislative assemblies, and parliaments, but still the citizens are rogues and thieves. Good citizenship, therefore, cannot be enforced. The citizens must be trained. As there are schools and colleges to train students to become chemical engineers, lawyers, or specialists in many other departments of knowledge, there must be schools and colleges to train students to become Brahmins, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, Shudras, Brahmacharis, Grihastas, Vanaprasthas, and Sannyasis. This will provide the preliminary condition for good citizenship. Varnashrama gunanvitaha. Generally speaking, if the king or president is a Rajarshi, the relationship between the citizens and the chief executive will be clear, and there will be no possibility of disruption in the state. Because the number of thieves and rogues will decrease. In Kali Yuga, however, because the Varnashram system is neglected, people are generally thieves and rogues. In the system of democracy, such thieves and rogues naturally collect money from other thieves and rogues, and thus there is chaos in every government, and no one is happy. But here the example of good government is to be found in the reign of Lord Ramachandra. If people follow this example, there will be good government all over the world. Om Ajnanatimidandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmaditam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yat Kripa Taraham Bande Shri Garundinatharanam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. So, we see here that Lord Ramchandra, after being banished to the forest and having Sita carried away by Ravan, and having fought with Ravan and killed him, crossing the ocean to Sri Lanka, he comes back to Ayodhya. So this verse is describing the return of Lord Ramchandra to Ayodhya and taking up the position as the king of Ayodhya. And specifically, the verse mentions about the relationship between Lord Ramchandra and the citizens. And that being just like a father with sons, right? The Lord Ramchandra considered the citizens of Ayodhya to be like his sons, and the citizens of Ayodhya felt Lord Ramchandra to be just like their father. So Prabhupada is giving this as a prescription for good government. But to come to this position, the institution of Varnashram Dharma needs to be there for this to have good government. And so it may sound like it's very idealistic or utopian, right? Something that is not attainable, people will say. That the government leaders consider the citizens to be like their children. They may say like that. But we see the example in the pastimes of Lord Ramchandra. And many people talk about having, the government should be Ram Raja. We should have Ram Raja. Right? And Prabhupada talks about a political party that was the platform of their party, was Ram Raja. I forget exactly, I don't know which leader it was, but at some time in the politics in India there was a leader that talked about Ram Raja. Don't remember his name. But such talk is only talk unless they know how to institute Ram Raja. Right? The Srila Prabhupada explains they know that during the time of Lord Ramchandra, everything was properly managed. Right? So that's the goal. They want to have that. But they don't want to follow the prescription to get that. So Prabhupada says they want the kingdom of God minus God. No God. This is the problem. But God himself is giving the formula for having proper management. In the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna explains, Chatur varnyam maya shrishtum guna karma vibhagashaha. Right? This Varnashram system, it comes from God. When Srila Prabhupada went to Moscow, he met one professor, Professor Kotovsky, right? So this Russian professor was explaining to Srila Prabhupada that now in communism, Swamiji, we have a classless society. Classless society. And Prabhupada said, no, it's not like that. You have teachers, you have politicians and military men, you have farmers and business people, right? And you have the labor class, is it not? And the professor had to agree, yes. Then how is it classless? Prabhupada explained. Because these orders are made by Krishna, therefore they will always exist. Whatever Krishna makes, in the pure form it may be, or not so pure form, but it must be there. Right? You'll always have a class of persons who are teachers, a class of people who perform religious or so-called religious activities. Right? You'll always have a military class. You'll have a class that is in administering the government. You'll have a class of people who are tilling the land, right? And doing trading. And you'll always have a class who labor. That will be there. So what the Varnashram system is that all these classes, which are going to be there anyway, are properly trained. It's a matter of training, right? Just like in World War II, there was this world war, so they needed a lot of soldiers. Back in those days, in the 30s and the 40s, in the population in the United States was mostly on the farm. So they took these farm boys and they had to train them to be soldiers, to fight, right? And they were able to defeat the Japanese and the Germans, right? Why? Because they did training, proper training. In the same way, citizens must be trained. Leaders must be trained. Right? We see in the life of Lord Ramchandra, he was ordered by his father to go to the forest. Right? So he accepted that order. He accepted his father's order. Right? He didn't have to. He could have objected. He could have whined about it and complained. Right? But he didn't. He happily accepted the order of his father. And then his brother, younger brother, Lakshman, it's mentioned in Valmiki Ramayana, he told Lord Ramchandra, why do we have to listen to this old man? We have an army, we'll throw him out, he suggested to Lord Ramchandra. And Lord Ramchandra said, no, we must follow our father. First duty, follow our father. It's our duty to follow his instruction. So you don't see that today, right? You don't see people that, first of all, keep their word. Word means nothing today, right? People tell lies for no reason at all. When Kaikeya went to Dasarath and asked for this, the fulfillment of his boon to banish Lord Ramchandra, he could have said, forget it, I'm not going to do that. But did he say that? No. He didn't like the idea. He didn't want to, but he had given his word. He had given his word. We see in the example of Bali Maharaj, Bali, right? Brahman came and asked for 3 steps of land. He said, okay. He said, I can give you a whole planet. You're a small boy. You don't understand your own interest, right? You're naive, he said. And what was Brahman's reply? Brahman's reply was, my dear king, if I'm not satisfied with 3 steps of land, even if you give me the whole universe, I won't be satisfied. So you give me these 3 steps. But then Sukracharya, realizing that Vamandev was actually Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and that in his 3 steps he could take everything, he said, don't give him. Take your word back. It's okay if you don't keep your word. And he tried to give many examples, right? But Bali said no. He kept his word. Just like Dasarath, he kept his word. And Lord Ramachandra respected that, understanding the lineage of his father, coming from great kings, Katvanga Maharaj, right? Aja Maharaj. He kept his father's word, right? So a person is only as good as their word is. It's not that because I put on tilak and I have kanti mala, I have japa mala, I can say anything. Huh? No. Kanti mala, japa mala, Vaishnav is very high. Right? We're trying to become Vaishnavas. Just because you throw on kanti mala and you have japa mala and tilak, it doesn't automatically make you a Vaishnav, right? We have to train. It requires training. And that begins with this Varnashram system for the people in general. They need to be trained how to be a Brahmin, how to be Kshatriya, how to be Vaishya, how to act as Shudra, right? So that gradually they can become a Vaishnava. So Srila Prabhupada is saying there can be good government. It's not hopeless. It's not impossible. But it requires the institution of an ashram. People require training. Leaders require training. Training in what? In the institution of Varnashram Dharma. Varnas, Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. Ashrams, Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanapras, and Sannyas. These things have to be trained properly. Otherwise, we'll have the chaotic situation that we have today. Right? Democracy. Right? Or democratic government. Because the people have no training, because they're steeped in the modes of material nature, they don't know what is proper activity or improper activity. Therefore, they put some rogue rascal in the government by vote, right? Who promises them sense gratification. Vote for me, you'll enjoy. Right? Vote for me, you'll enjoy. That's what every politician is saying. Vote for me, you will enjoy. But a father, he doesn't see like that for his children. He knows that the children ultimately what's good for them. So therefore he has to sometime punish children if they're not acting properly. Why? For their training. Right? Negative, sometimes they need to get some negative feedback. And positive feedback. A father will see like that. So the father is sacrificing his own consideration for the benefit of his children. That's what it means to be a father, is it not? The father earns money, but he earns money and supplies it to the family for the betterment of their children, right? They're feeding them, clothing them, education. Otherwise, he can just go out and spend the money on his own sense gratification, right? But for the ultimate benefit of the children, that's his concern. Do we have that today with our politicians? Do our politicians are thinking like that? Huh? No. They grab the post and their only idea is loot maro, loot maro, loot maro. How to keep the post, that's all. No consideration for the benefit of the citizens. And they think, once I'm in a position, that's my right to steal, cheat. And what does Chanakya Pandit say? Right? Never trust a politician, because they can say anything. They can say anything. Contrary to such a hopeless situation is the situation of the reign of Lord Ramchandra, who actually cared for the citizens, not only their material requirements, but their spiritual requirements also. And Srila Prabhupada has the same aspiration that there should be good government in the world. And in order to come to good government, the institution of Varnashram is required. Right? ISKCON has been given a very big responsibility to see that such a thing happens in society. Frankly, in the last 50 years of Prabhupada's disappearance, we haven't done a very good job. Hopefully in the future we'll be enlightened how we can establish this Varnashram system in society for the people in general. They're absolutely suffering. They're absolutely confused as to what is the goal of life. Everyone is being misdirected. People don't know what is to be done, what is not to be done, what is an actual Vaishya. They have no idea, right? Go, Krishi, Varnijam. These are the activities of the Vaishya, right? People are so dedicated, right, to the cows. because cows are meant to be the source of livelihood. Source of livelihood. It's the system. Recently, there was a class given by Bhakti Raghava Swami in Mayapur. And he was explaining that Krishna is very happy with the Brahmins and the cows. Prabhupada explains in a purport in 10th canto of the Bhagavatam that even before the happiness of the Brahmins, he's concerned about the happiness of the cows. He's so concerned about cows. That in Braj, the first chapati that they make goes to the cow. The second chapati they make goes to a Brahmin. And Krishna has to wait for the third chapati. Right? This is a culture. Right? Satisfying the cows is a very major priority for a Vaishya. But now we see that Vaishyas, all they're concerned about is varnijam, manufacturing or trading. Right? Farming, cow protection, it's not in their agenda, it's not in their frame of reference. So how are they Vaishyas? Right? They're not protecting the land and protecting the cows. By protecting the cows, the land automatically becomes protected. Right? And by the byproducts of protecting cows and protecting the land, one will do varnijam, trade. So we have the Vaishyas, the Kshatriyas. They're very important for proper human society, but it requires training. And that's the duty of this society, the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Prabhupada talks about institutes, having institutes where people can become trained as leaders, real leaders, that care for the people, right? That know what is the ultimate good for the people, what is the benefit of the people. Right? He wanted to have a Varnashram college, right? Where people are taught how to be good administrators, how to be good priestly caste. And the whole basis of this is that ultimately people can become devotees, become to the process of devotional service. So Lord Ramchandra's pastimes exemplify this. He exemplified it in his character, and we can learn from the pastimes of Lord Ramchandra about how society should be organized in a proper way so that ultimately the people can be benefited by being progressive in their march back home, back to Godhead. Hare Krishna. So are there any questions or comments? Yes? Microphone? Keep passing it back. Yeah, back.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. I was thinking that the reason why there's no cow protection is because the British saw that cow protection is the economy of India, and therefore they set out to break it. And outside of India, it's more like exploitation of the animal. But here in India, where the cow, and the economy of India was cow. Maybe you could comment on this?
Yeah, we can understand how advanced Kali Yuga is, that even in India, the cow is exploited so much, to the point where India is the #1 country exporting beef, right? To places like the Middle East, Russia, etc., right? They're exporting. It's, very unfortunate that in the place of Dharma has become so fallen. A lot of training is required, a lot of, reorientation of the focus of life has to be there, and ISKCON has to play a critical role in that in order to expect to get a change in society. Unfortunately, India wants to imitate the ways of the West. They want to trade meat for machines, right? Rather, they should be organizing their farming on self-sufficiency. This was Srila Prabhupada's advice. The influence of Kali Yuga is very powerful, and it has to be counteracted with the introduction of the chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare. But, bad habits are difficult to change. And previously, nobody needed to learn organic farming in India previously. How many years ago? 100 years ago? Less than maybe 80 years ago? Maybe even 50, 60 years ago. Nobody needed to be instructed how to do organic farming. It was organic farming. You want fertilizer? Cow dung, right? You got a problem with bugs? There were organic, biodegradable methods to get rid of bugs. It was called village technology. They knew all these things, right? They didn't need electricity. They could take the oil out of the seeds simply by having the bull walk around the gurney. Now that's lost. It's a lost science. Without electricity, nobody knows how to get oil out of the seeds. There's a perfect example. The stone gurneys that they used the bull to walk around, right? They wanted, in our farm next to Belgaum, they wanted to get one of these gurneys, right? They couldn't find one. Because what happened was, when people switched over to electricity, some of the mill owners who had these stone gurneys, they sold them. And when they sold them, some people died in their family. So the rumor went around that if you sell the gurneys, your family, there'll be some catastrophe in your family. So what they did is they buried them. They didn't sell them, they buried them. There was none available. Finally, after a hard struggle, they got one stone gurney, right? And they put it in the farm. But then they realized they didn't know how to use it. They didn't know how to hook the bull up to it. They didn't know how to work the stone gurney to take the oil out. And they went to the villages to find someone who knew. But nobody knew. That technology was lost. Finally, they found one 90-year-old man who knew how to hook up the bull and, work it in such a way that you could grind the seeds and get oil, extract the oil, right? This is the position, right? The technology that was there before is lost. Now in our farms, if you tell the devotees, don't use chemicals, they think you're crazy, right? You gotta put urea. How are you gonna get rid of the bugs? You have to spray it with pesticides, right? Lost. Knowledge, technology that was already there for generations, passed on by example from family to family, is lost. and it has to be relearned. It has to be relearned. So that's the unfortunate situation. A lot of effort, a lot of work needs to go into establishing this Varnashram system. It's not a question of armchair work. It's practical work in the field, training people. Is that okay?
Yeah, I was just saying that it's the influence of the age that this system broke. It was systematically broken. That's what I understand.
You're saying the system broke?
Yeah, it was deliberately broken.
Yeah, even Lord Krishna talks about, the knowledge as it is appeared to be lost, right? So now I'm telling you again, he said to Arjuna. In the same way, the knowledge is there. It appears to be lost. We need to revive that in various ways. Through our farms, through our practical behavior, keeping our word. Everyone outside may be telling lies, right and left and center. But why should we tell lies? We should be truthful. If I give my word about something, I should keep my word, right? Because we know that is what character is all about. Develop character. Don't tell lies. A very rudimentary religious principle. It's in the Bible, right? Thou shalt not lie, right? So Jesus, he was preaching to fishermen, simple people, right? Can you imagine on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, Lord Krishna is explaining to Arjuna, Arjuna, don't tell lies. It's too simple, right? Krishna's explaining higher principles to Arjuna. What is karma? How to avoid karma? What is the reaction of that, right? But people have become so degraded for no reason at all, they lie. Ask anybody their age, they'll tell you 5 years younger. Why? Ladies, we can understand there may be some reason. But gents, right? This is the age. Nobody can keep the word. A man is as good as his word, right? We see Lord Ramchandra, he exemplified that. He kept not only his word, but his father's word also. And went to the forest and accepted so much austerity and penance, living like a mendicant, right? Microphone back up in the front. Aye, Jilly, aye, sit, aye. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you for the class. You are talking about this Bali Maharaj or Dashrath Maharaj, that they had kept their words, as it is. So we understand there is a morality, mundane morality, moral principles to be moral, and there is something called as transcendental morality also. So
to have transcendental morality, you should be transcendental, right?
Yeah.
Not that you're, number one duffer, and you're talking transcendental, Be transcendental. First, who's transcendental? Just because you put on tilak and kantimala, you're transcendental? And then anything you can say because you became transcendental? No, not like that. Even our study of Srimad Bhagavatam, carefully, canto by canto. Why? To become purified so that we can understand Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavan. Otherwise, we'll make a mistake, definitely. The conditioned soul cannot understand what is the difference between mundane boyfriend and girlfriend and Radha and Krishna. They'll definitely make a mistake. Therefore, they have to become gradually purified. Right? And the principle of truthfulness, you may think it's mundane, but it's not, because it brings us to the platform of actually becoming transcendental, being truthful, keeping our word. Satyam. It's a principle. Principled life, principled management. Even in the mundane world, they talk about principled business. Being principled in your business tactics and relationships. Being principled. Principled based. Right? Not that you become a devotee and you throw all the principles out the window. Right? Not like that. Then what is the question of being a Vaishnava? It's only a word. But rather it has to be a character building journey in life.
So sometimes we have seen that because in conversations and in dealings, when we give a word, it may happen that we may not know the whole situation per se, and hence, for example, in case of Bali Maharaj could have told that, okay, I didn't know the whole situation per se, that what could happen, and then we also justify in our daily conversations and meetings and dealings that I didn't know the whole situation, and that's how I gave you the word, But then now, having known the complete situation, I am taking back my word.
Rather, when Bali Maharaj was informed by Sukracharya that this is Vishnu, he became all the more determined to keep his word. Because he had heard from Sukracharya that worshipping Vishnu is the ultimate goal of life. So his point was, you're saying worshipping Vishnu, right? Now you're saying Vishnu has come, so all the more reason to keep my word and offer him that 3 steps of land, regardless of the consequence, right? So keeping our word of course must be in line with the Shastra also. You don't keep your word for a wrong thing, but you must keep your word for the right thing, isn't it?
Right thing, because we may feel that, okay, I didn't...
2 ways how you will know a thing is the right thing. 3 ways actually. Guru, Sadhu, Shastra. There's Shastra, it explains what is the right thing in life to do. There is the external manifestation of Paramatma, the spiritual master, who comes to guide us. And we have the practical example of the saintly persons, like Bali Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj. We see the example in their life, what they did, and we can follow that. So we'll know what to do by checking these things. Right? Is that okay? Any other point? Yes.
The Brahmins, Kshatriya and then Vaishyas, they are allowed to go to Gurukul and get training, right? So what would be in the present scenario, we have very few Gurukuls like Mayapur and under Bhakti Vikas Maharaj, so there are few Gurukuls. So if there are students who go there, get trained, what would be their future like when they graduate from these gurukuls? So they are going to be brahmanas, so they will be engaged more. So we have temples all around, so they'll be engaged more in the temples. But what about the Vaishyas and the Kshatriyas? What would be they engaged in the present society?
Well, as far as Vaishyas is concerned, the example needs to be set how one can live off the land self-sufficiently. That would be the first instruction Srila Prabhupada wanted for our farms, would be self-sufficient. And he gave practical goals to try to help us establish that self-sufficiency. We have our Talasari farm, and flowers are growing. And so therefore we're able to offer garlands to Gaur-Nitai, Shri Shri Radha Ras Bihari, Sitaram Lakshman and Hanuman, and Srila Prabhupada. Right? If we didn't have that, there might not be any garlands at all. Right? So Prabhupada very much wanted that. He wanted us to, grow the things that we use, especially in worshiping the deity, like vegetables and milk and flowers. And that made him happy, mainly because it sets an example of Vaishya activities. Taking care of the land, taking care of the cows, and engaging those activities, engaging those products in the service of the Supreme Lord. So that's one thing. Brahminical activities, okay, we have temples and deity worship and other activities. Kshatriyas, eventually devotees will, based on Vedic principles, run governments and institute varnashram. Slowly it'll happen. But if human society is to be saved at all, it has to happen. Otherwise, the human race is in a very precarious position if it doesn't. So we don't know how the Lord will arrange things, but He'll arrange things. And that's when the training that the children receive in the Gurukul, a traditional Gurukul, rise early in the morning, take a bath, attend Mangalartik, chant mantras, perform menial services in the house of the spiritual master, traditional, right? A little bit of reading, writing, arithmetic. Right now, it's not so obvious to us how it's going to manifest, but in time it will. In time it will. Any other questions? Comments? Okay, thank you very much. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Shri Ramchandra ki, Vitai Gaur Premanandi.